Hello everyone, I greet you in the name of God Almighty. My name is Apostle Silas, and today we have a very interesting video to react to. And this one says that, why did Abraham deserve a son like Ishmael? That's the blessings from God. I believe that this is going to be a very interesting video. I think that the Muslim is going to like this video, but very unfortunate, of course, it is the rabbi that will be explaining this. But then let's hear the Jews maybe perspective concerning Ishmael. Okay, and I think this will even help me to understand some things, understand about Ishmael. Okay, all right, so if today happens to be the first time of you checking out my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So guys, before we get on to the video, I'm a theologian and I make this video not to discredit anyone's thought or belief. This is basically for educational purposes, and I believe that at the end of this video we all are going to learn from this. So guys, without any further ado, let's get on to this video and check this out.
It's not a question, it's a more advice. I'm asking for advice. Yeah. I was driving today with my older one, and all of a sudden, with my older child.
Yes.
So she's 15 and a half. And all of a sudden, she started to tell me, Mommy, I have two feelings to Abraham. And it's like the first one, I love him, I respect him as a father of a Jewish nation. And the other one, I don't really understand him. And she saw the news before. And then she says, I really don't understand how this holy man can give a birth to Ishmael, and we all, then the Jewish nation has to suffer after, like, you know. So, like, then she told me, Mommy, what do you think? It's a normal feel, huh?
What about Ishmael? You can understand why Avram
have a son like Ishmael.
How could he have a son like Ishmael?
Yes.
Well, why is it Avram's fault if he has a son Ishmael? And that she's blaming him for having such a son?
No, she's not blaming. She just like, Mommy, this is like, how is the holy man like him can have a son like, and from this son, she's trying to tell me like, from Ishmael we have the nation, like a Muslim nation who makes all, they do the problem right now to us. And she saw the news with all the Hebrew cemetery and all the pictures online, and she says, Mommy, look, this is normal.
Oh, like, so no, how could a unholy person come out from a holy person? That's what she's asking.
How's the holy man like Abraham can have a son? You know, after him, the kids like...
Well, this is a very broad kind of question, but let me try to bring out some of the points. According to the Kabbalists, we have to understand that Avram Avinu, he had a son Yishmael, his son Yitzchak. Yitzchak was the righteous one, right? Yitzchak also had an Esav. The same question: how can Esav have an Esav? Esav maybe worse than Yishmael. I don't know who's worse, but it's a toss-up. But both came out very bad to a great extent. Not all of them. Some of them became tzaddikim too. Some of them became Gerim. Some of them were kept to Noahide laws. They weren't all bad. But generally speaking, a lot of bad came out from them. We have to go back to the beginning. Avram Avinu was an idol worshiper when he was born. He was born into the house of Terach. Terach was a person who served idols. He was a bad person. And Avram was born from Terach. He lived in this house. And he also served idols until he was at least 3 years old, maybe a little more than that, question how long. Until he finally realized that this is ridiculous, these idols, and he went against it, and the whole stories how he went against his father and broke the idols, whatever. But in the beginning, he was in the same boat as everybody else. He was born into such a family. So we're told, according to the Kabbalists, that in order for Avram Avinu to be able to set up a holy nation, which eventually came out from the Jewish people, being the Jewish people, he didn't have children until he was 90, almost 100 years old, 99, 100 years old, till when he had Yitzchak. Why so late? Because he was working on himself, to perfect himself, to rid himself from all the bad that he was into before he recognized God. He worked very hard on himself, perfecting himself over and over again. And he had some bad within him, and that bad, we're told, went out in Ishmael. His good went out to Yitzchak, and the bad went out to Ishmael. He had Ishmael before Yitzchak, because that was within him, the bad of Ishmael, even though Ishmael didn't have to be bad. He had the choice to be good. But he's not the holiness of Yitzchak. So that unholiness with Avraham Avinu went out into Ishmael. And therefore, later when he had Yitzchak, he was much higher level of Kedusha than he was before he had Ishmael. Therefore, then he was ready at 100 years old to have Yitzchak to be such a holy person. Still, in Yitzchak, since he came from Avraham, it still was not perfect yet. Yitzchak worked on himself to perfect himself, but still, he had an Esav coming out from him, because the badness that was still residue, that was left from being the son of Avraham, who was the son of Terach, who was the son of people who were wicked people, there was some residue left in Yitzchak also. He wanted Akedah, and he planned a human sacrifice, ready to, it didn't happen actually, but he's ready to sacrifice himself. He became very holy with that Akedah, when he put himself on the holy mount in Yerushalayim, ready to be sacrificed to Hashem. That in itself purified him and made him a very holy person, and he was able to have Yaakov. But after he had an Esav, the Esav, the bad, and was still some residue of bad in him, that went out into Esav. And now he had a Yaakov, and Yaakov was perfect. Yaakov was called the Bechir Sheba Avos, the chosen of the three fathers, because all of his children were tzaddikim, called Mitas HaShlema. He had a perfect bed. In other words, he had perfect everything. All his children were tzaddikim, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisrael, Zvun, Dan, Binyamin. They're all 12 of them, Dinah, his daughter. They're all holy person, wonderful people, because by the time Yaakov was born, he's called the Bechir Sheba Avos. He's called the chosen one of the forefathers. Why is he chosen? Because he came after all the work, the toil that Avraham put into himself, after the work and toil that Yitzchak put into himself, all of them ridding themselves of Ishmael, of Esav, all the bad in them. He's the Bechir Sheba Avos, but he could not have been the chosen one if he wouldn't have Avraham before him and Yitzchak before him. They were on their shoulders. He was on their shoulders. They're the ones who gave him the opportunity to be the chosen one and the most perfect one and the greatest one of all the others, because of his forefather before his father and grandfather that trailblazed before him to open up the path for him to be such a great person. So you ask him how Yishmael comes out. Yishmael was the bad of Avraham that came out, but Yishmael did not have to be bad. He couldn't have been that tzaddik. I call him bad relatively. He could have been a tzaddik. He did tshuva at the end. Yishmael did tshuva at the end, and became a tzaddik. So this is something that it's not difficult for us to understand. Avraham Avinu had some bad in him. He's born like that. That was his challenge in life. Not everybody's born perfect. That was his greatness. He had such a bad upbringing, such a bad father in the beginning. But this was his greatness. He was able to lift himself above the bad upbringing and bad father that he had and make himself into somebody good.
So how can we connect with the Torah and today's days? If Ishmael wasn't that bad, so what's the situation right now? All his people, what he created, and right now we have. So I just, it's like I'm wondering how to answer to her. It's like all these questions, it's so difficult to tell teenagers and explain, even for me, for myself.
Well,
the question is, if he wasn't that bad, so why the nation?
He didn't have to be bad. He chose to be bad. He became a Baal Tshuva. His children could be good people. His children could be tzaddikim also. And a lot of them are. A lot of Arabs are not all bad. I think a lot of them are afraid to be good because they'll shoot him, they'll kill him. so they're afraid to say anything. But not all the Arabs are bad. That's what the Torah Karta, who was against the state of Israel, they're all screaming that before they started the state of Israel, we were living with the Arabs. We're getting along with them. By making the state of Israel, we got them to hate us. And therefore they're against the state because they feel that the Zionists who created the state caused a very bad hatred with the Arabs for the Jews. If they wouldn't have made the state of Israel, we would still be living together in peace, basic peace, and we wouldn't have these problems. So the Arabs are not all bad. They don't have to be bad. A lot of Arabs became also converted to Judaism. A lot of them converted to Judaism and are part of the Jewish nation today. But a lot of Jews are bad too. I hate to say, no. Jews have the challenge, and they could go Bravo Sour also. Everybody's a challenge, and we can have free choice.
Wow, that's a very interesting video. Listening to this rabbi explaining Ishmael. We all believe that, of course, and we all know that when God called Abraham, of course, they were worshiping idol. Okay, that's what, you understand, you are doing. But then for the rabbi to says that the descendant of Ishmael are bad and hating, you understand, the Jew is because of the idol worshiping that Abraham was doing before God called him, is some of the things that makes Ishmael, you understand, to behave how he was behaving, or for his descendant, you understand, to be so violent and then hate the Jews. I don't think that, you understand, this even makes sense. Because if you look at it, in a sense, critically, let's look at it this way. We all know that, you understand, that Hagar came from Egypt. Okay, she was actually a princess from Egypt. Okay, that when Abraham, you understand, came to Egypt and then they are living there, from there she really loved, you understand, Abraham, like the family and how they conduct themselves. So she was actually there. She actually left her princesshood and then therefore traveled back to him when Abraham, you understand, was living, you understand, Egypt, right? So if you look at it critically, then you realize that Hagar was actually from a family that are very pious. Okay, and how come, you understand, if she decides to follow Abraham and at some point Sarah says that she cannot give birth, then maybe you should take her and make her a wife, and then if they can be able to at least bear a son before all those dramas, you understand, happen. How does that translate to him giving birth to somebody who is bad? And let's assume that maybe because of some of the things that Abraham did in the past, or the worshipping of the idols that make him to give birth to Ishmael, that make him to have a descendant that are bad. I don't think that the rabbi even, like whatever he was just saying, I don't know if that's how the Jews, understand, think. But then I just feels like, you understand, it's just wrong. Like, does that even make sense to you? Like, when you are listening to it, does that even make sense? You get, it does not even make sense. Okay, so how does that translate to Esau and Jacob? You see, is it still because of the Abraham, you understand, previous idol worshipping that he was doing that resulted of him to have Isaac, and then Isaac gave birth to Esau and then Jacob? So what now happened, you understand, to Esau? Do you understand? Is it because of those that makes God not to bless Esau but rather blessed Jacob? And what now happened to the 12 children of Jacob, that Joseph finally become, you understand, or Yusuf finally be the blessed one? Do you understand? Does those things even make sense? Whatever, you understand, the rabbi, it does not just make sense to me. I don't know if I'm the one, you understand, hearing this, but then I think that some of you, you understand, actually listening to the rabbi explaining this, whatever he was saying does not even make sense to me. But then probably, if maybe probably whatever he was saying, or if I am wrong, then fine. I would also like to hear from some of you, okay, to tell me your own thought, in a sense, concerning this, because whatever he's explaining does not even make sense. I just feel like we as human beings, of course, we have a choice, right? And if somebody decides to do evil, that evil is not supposed, you understand, to be linked to the person, you understand, religion. And then therefore, because the person is from a particular religion and do something that is evil, then we says that, okay, it's the whole religion. I think that that is wrong. And I think that that's the kind of class of thought that probably this rabbi may be coming from. It is wrong in a sense to look at the whole religion and says that they are wrong because of some kind of person, and that there is no way that is actually written. That's even in the Bible that states that Ishmael did anything bad, aside from how, in a sense, it was talking about when Sarah sent them away with Hagar, and then the angel came when they are in the desert, and they have there is no way that is being written that Ishmael do anything that is bad in the Bible. There is no way. So we all know that, of course, that the Muslim are from the descendant of this thing, but then you don't expect that because of somebody want to maybe do a terrorist or do something bad to some set of people, then was like Allah is grace, Allahu Akbar, then automatically means the person is a Muslim. What if the person is just saying it and he's not a Muslim? So it will not be good for us to generalize it, and because of the way people like to generalize some of these things, is one of the reasons why I see the world are finding it difficult to fight terrorism. Why? Because people like to generalize with a particular religion. What is wrong? I know a lot of good Muslims. I have stayed in a Muslim house. They are very good people. So where did we get all these things by relating it to Ishmael? This rabbi is talking about because of the idol worshiping that Abraham did before God called him is one of the reasons that makes him to give birth to Ishmael, and then Ishmael having a descendant that are actually terrorizing the world. It does not even make sense to me. But anyway, I would like to hear your thought and opinion concerning this at the comment section, and may God bless you as you do so. So this is the end of my video. If you like my reaction, you should like, share, and subscribe. If you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section, and I'm going to check it out. So guys, you remain blessed, and I see you in my next video. Bye bye.